Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's me, Julia. Um, I'm very happy for those of you who are joining me live, and for those of you who are going to watch this at another time. Thanks for tuning in and checking this out. Whew, so let's see. In my short post yesterday, I told you that I was doing my best to pull things together this week. And the more conversations I have with people this week, the more I'm hearing that, a lot of people have some mixed feelings going on in terms of summer winding down and school being just around the corner. And a lot of people are away on vacation or about to be away on vacation, or thinking in terms of a great vacation that they took maybe a couple weeks ago, or longing for a vacation that they weren't able to take. So different mixed feelings, mixed emotions going on right now. I am definitely in that boat myself. So I had also mentioned yesterday that my family takes a summer vacation for a week every year in August, which I've been so excited for. So excited. I keep saying to my husband, he and I keep saying to one another, we can't wait for the vacation. We can't wait for the trip. And here it is. We're leaving this weekend, and it just feels like summer is over as soon as we get back. It's not over yet, but I feel it. And man, I wish that summer would stick around for a few more weeks, not only in terms of temperature, because I think that actually may be the case, but just in terms of like the laid back, easy breezy, pace of the summer. That's just different when school starts and after school activities and all of that stuff kicks in. So between wrapping up with patients before I go away and preparing for things that are going to be going on in September and October, and doing laundry and getting everybody packed and ready to go away, I'm feeling it this week. But it's also given me a really nice opportunity to, just to be reflective in my thinking and, what it is that I wanted to talk about and where I'm at in my own life, both personally and professionally. So that's what I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this morning with you. So I wanted to talk a bit about decision making and intentionality and reflections and future plans. So all those kinds of things. So in my practice, as you can imagine, I work with a lot of people who are making decisions, right? Maybe people are starting therapy because they're having trouble with a decision, or they're really not sure what the different options are. Sometimes people aren't really sure what the questions are that they're asking themselves, but sometimes people are making a decision between one job and another, 2 kids or 3 kids. Do I want to stay with my partner? Do I not want to stay with my partner? Or maybe a relationship just ended, or maybe one just started. I mean, lots of different kinds of decisions and decision making that people are talking about in therapy. And I spend a great deal of time thinking and talking with people about how we make our decisions, right? What goes into our decision-making process, which is different for lots of people. And it's really fascinating, the differences between how we make our decisions and what we think about, the different timelines and the different factors and who we consult, and do we make decisions on our own? Do we talk about them with family, with friends? Do we have a lot of support? Do we have no support? I mean, you name it, it comes up in therapy. And especially for those of us who are parents, especially for moms, I think that, all of the different factors at play get kicked into overdrive sometimes. Not to say that dads and, other people don't have lots of factors at play too, but I just think for us as moms, there's a uniqueness there, right? And I stress to people when we're talking about making decisions that we need to make space and be kind to ourselves, in that we make decisions with the information that we have at the time, right? So hindsight, we have different information than we have in real time, right? When we're making the decision. So for example, in hindsight, we know how things have turned out. And that's not necessarily where we're at in the moment where we're making the decision, right? We're maybe hoping for a certain outcome, but we don't know what that outcome is until it's come out, right? Until it's happened. So we make decisions with the information available to us at the time, but also a lot can change in the decision-making process. So oftentimes I'm talking with people in treatment about decisions that they're making rapidly, like what do I want to have for lunch? What do I want to do tonight? What do I want to talk to my partner about today or this week? But also we're talking about decisions that are a month away, 6 months away, a year away. And this is where I think in particular the uniqueness of being a mom comes into play, right? The intersection of making decisions, but also as a mom. I don't know about you, but ever since I had kids, I mean, I've always been kind of a future-oriented person. If you ask any of my high school friends, college friends, this was something that they teased me about quite a bit. So I've always been kind of future-oriented, but that really got kicked into a different gear once I had kids. And I don't know about you, but I tend to think about my life at least 6 months in advance, if not more than that, right? Where are we going on vacation next year? What sport is my child going to play next season? If they're playing that sport and it starts on this date, when do I need to get their cleats by? When do I need to make sure we have our hip hop shoes ready to go by? And if you're doing it, I find if I'm doing it when it's happening, it's too late, which causes a lot of stress, which causes a lot of anxiety, which causes a lot of running around on top of the running around that I already have to do based on plans that I made 6 months ago for what I have going on today. Please, if anybody can relate to this, let me know that I'm not alone. But anyway, all of that is to say, if we're planning for something that's so far in the future, which is not actually so far away when you think about all the other things that can go on, a lot can change in the intervening time. Right? If I'm talking about something that's happening in an hour from now, some things may change, but certainly not necessarily as much as if I'm planning for something 6 months from now. And another thing that comes up in my conversations with people in treatment around decision making is that it's important to leave space for things changing, right? Things that are within our control, things that are outside of our control, surprise things that can come up, curveballs that we can be thrown. And it's the age-old saying where, you know, a tree limb that is not able to bend is more susceptible to breaking, right? So we want to build in that kind of flexibility so that we can bend, right, as changes happen, as opposed to breaking altogether, right? That flexibility sounds nice in theory. In practice, it's really difficult, especially when we're talking to people who have a lot on their plates, like moms, people who deal with different degrees of stress or anxiety. It's not always so easy to be flexible, right? And yet, sometimes flexibility is exactly what we need, especially when we're planning things that are far out, where there's a lot that can happen in between to mess with our plans, right? And there are a lot of people who don't like when their plans are messed with. There are a lot of people who are easy breezy and go with the flow. And then there are a whole group of people who are a good combination of the two. But it plays a factor when we're talking about decision making. So that's a segue into my own personal decision making, right? And I'm feeling reflective this time of year because it was just about a year ago on my summer vacation, my family summer vacation last summer, where I made this big, tremendous decision to make a pretty significant change in my life. It was a decision that took me a while, I think, to come to, but once I came to it, I was off and running. You know, once I made the decision, once the flip switched, I didn't look back. And it had a lot to do with changing the professional path that I was walking. And there was a ton of things that was unknown about that change, which is generally not the way that I make decisions. I'm much more, you know, I typically plan and think and perseverate in a different way than I did when it came to this decision, which is really interesting. And I've had a lot of time to reflect and think on that myself. But I made this big, huge change, which a year ago I was in the thick of. And a year out, is in hindsight, right? And just thinking in terms of all that's transpired over the course of the year and in the couple of months leading up to last summer when I made this big decision. It's really just so interesting to think about, and I have a lot of really mixed emotions about it. It's been, knock on wood, fantastic and so wonderful. And it's also been really hard at times and stressful and emotional. And I've been very fortunate to have a ton of support. Lots of the people who provided me support are part of this fantastic group. But also it's just been, and it's crazy that it's been a year. It's crazy that it's been a year. So in that time, I expanded my practice. I increased the amount of time that I spend with my kids and with my family. I increased the amount of flexibility that my schedule now affords me. And I was able to increase time that I wanted to dedicate to different kinds of self-care and wellness practices. So things like going to the gym or taking a walk outside, or different than like me time, but in terms of healthy me time, right? I wanted to focus on, I had all different kinds of aches and pains that I was sick and tired of having and I never had time to address. I wanted to be more physically active, excuse me, than I was. And so those are the kinds of intentions that I had. That's one of several of reasons that I wanted to build in this big change to my life. And I'm very pleased to say that a lot of those changes I've been able to see results from, which is mind-blowing to me in lots of different ways, which I can talk about at another time. In terms of future goals, so where I'm at now, and I felt that it was important to talk about this here, because I'm hoping that by talking about this publicly, it will help me with my accountability. So ask me about this if you see me, or message me and let's have a conversation about it. So this year, I want to keep growing, keep increasing my practice in terms of my reach, in terms of my network, in terms of people that I'm able to support and serve in different ways. I want to keep that going and expanding. I want to maintain my my wellness practice, right, and my physical activity level. That's important for me. Here's a big one. I want to increase my cooking without the use of the microwave, which is my main kitchen go-to tool at the moment, which I'm not ashamed of. I just like to increase the tools in my toolbox. So I want to be cooking more for myself and for my family. And I want to continue to increase the space that I have and the time that I have in order to be both reflective, but also grateful. I'm blanking on the word. I'm thinking gratuity, but that's not what I mean. For those of you, gratitude, there it is. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who are grateful for their gratuities, right? Who wouldn't be? A gratuity practice, a gratitude practice. See, I told you my mind at this moment is elsewhere. A gratitude practice can be such a wonderful gift to ourselves and to other people, which I will talk about at a different time. But it's such a nice time to be able to reflect on all of the different things that we feel grateful for, even in our most vulnerable, maybe ungrateful feeling moments. And I'll talk about that, as I said, at another time. But it's important to me that as I'm cultivating space for different things, both personally and professionally, as I continue on this journey, that I continue to make space for time to reflect on where I've been, on where I'm at, and where I want to go. And also that I build in gratitude regularly my days, to my weeks, and to my practice, and to my life in general. It's really, I find, a sustaining thing to do. And so stay tuned for more information about that. I'm happy to share that with all of you as well. So intentions, decisions, reflections, vacations, right? Those are the kinds of things that are on my mind today and right now, as is this hysterical, crazy story of the flying clown that floated its way into Renee's backyard, which I'm sure lots of you have read about, which is just amazing to me. And Renee, take that 15 minutes, girl, and rock the heck out of it. We're thrilled for you. We're supportive of you. And it's just amazing and hysterical. And most importantly, there she is. Hi, Renee. Hi, Carrie. Most importantly, everybody is safe, because, I mean, really, it's a scary kind of thing. Somebody just, plops something down in your backyard. So for those of you who are traveling, who are about to travel, who are staying put, I wish everybody a really terrific last couple of weeks of summer. I hope everybody is well, and if at any point in time you have a question or you have a comment, or if you want to let me know that I'm not alone in planning my life out way in advance, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to message me on Facebook, or you could reach out to me via my website, www.therapywithjulia.com, and I will speak to you all very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.